Shalom Lachem. And as you know, for you at least, is Parashat Chukat. And you know that this month is Chodesh Tammuz. In the month of Tammuz, we have Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, that the day that we are fasting. And Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, there are 5 events that happen in Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. We all know, in the most famous one, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the 2 tablets on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. But we have other stuff that happened in Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. Is first of all, the Babylonian, they broke the walls. If you remember, on Chodesh Tevet, we had the siege around Yerushalayim. On Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, they broke the walls. On Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, they canceled Korban Tamid. Is also Lishbor, is breaking his crisis. It said Korban Tamid was stopped. And also the day of Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, they took Sefer Torah and burned it in fire. And the last but not least, to their own opinion, they brought idol to the Bet HaMikdash. So we have 5 things that happen in Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. We call it, mashber. We spoke in the previous years about the word mashber. Mashber in English, you say crisis. I think in Spanish, you say crisis, no? Crisis. So he said, that's the question, usually what we say about crisis or mashber is connotation is negative or positive? Negative. But I'll show you today, we learn, if you remember the previous year, that not necessarily, because the word mashber, the root, what is the root of the word? Shever, כן? Shin bet resh. נכון? Do you remember when Yaakov Avinu was sending his children to Egypt because it was a hunger in Eretz Israel? What he told them? Yesh shever b'Mitzrayim. Shever over there is a very positive, means food. There is food in Egypt. And the title that Yosef got, because he was the one who gave food, mashbir, the same shoresh. So you see the word shoresh, the shoresh shin bet resh could be negative and could be positive. By the way, I don't know how many of you know, when the woman delivers a baby, before she delivers the baby, every woman, she has contractions, nachon? And we have contraction is very painful. So they let her to sit on what? Do you know on what? There is a special chair for the yoledet. It's called mashber. Yoshevet ala mashber. And this mashber, that's a very positive. It's, relieve the pain for the yoledet. So we will see later on. So now we are talking about, we have 4 times during the year that we have fast day. Okay, not including Ta'anit Esther and not including Yom Kippur because it's Mideoraita. But look what Zechariah said. Ko amar Adonai Tzevaot. Tzom Revi'i. What is Tzom Revi'i? The 4th Tzom. The 4th means the 4th month. So which month is the 4th month? Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz. Tammuz, that's Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. Tzom HaChamishi is Av, is Tisha B'Av. Tzom HaShvi'i is Tzom Gedalia. Tzom HaAsiri is the 10th of Tevet. But the number is the name of the number of the month. Not the date, but the month. What will be in the future? The prophet prophesies. יהיה לבית יהודה לששון ולשמחה ולמועדים טובים והאמת והשלום יהבו. That means when the Mashiach will come, not only we're not going to nullify and cancel the tzom, the tzom going to be changed and to be Yom Tov, to be Hag, to be a holiday. This is amazing. But when you go to Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, B'ezrat Hashem, next week or 2 weeks from now, we'll learn why. But that's not our subject today. all are subject that I wanted to see that how many crises, how many mashbirim we have. So no, we have tikkunim. We have to make tikkun. It is very hard. For instance, why take the Tisha B'Av, Hurban Abayit. Why Hashem let the enemies destroy our temple? What was the reason? Oh, very good. Het HaMeraglim. Yofi, very good. What was the sin of the Meraglim?
They talk bad about Eretz Israel.
So tell me what the tikkun is. So what to talk?
Good.
Huh? To talk ma? To talk, to praise Eretz Israel. So the tikkun for the Meraglim is to praise Eretz Israel. That's a tikkun. There is another. We have sinat hinam. Remember what is sinat hinam? Hatred for no reason. So what is the tikkun? Avat hinam. So we have two. I'm giving you an example from Tisha B'Av. And then we have two things to do to make avat hinam and also to praise Eretz Israel. But the question is on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. Now, I'm going to ask you, remember the first thing that happened in Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, what? They broke the walls. Nachon? So what is the tikkun?
To build them.
That's what Leona, that's what I expected you to say, and everybody say this. But I'll show you a pasuk, it's impossible, cannot be. Why? Look here. Zechariah, you see Zechariah? ויאמר אליו, רוץ דבר אל הנער הלז, לאמור, פרזות תשב ירושלים. When the Mashiach will come, you know what is perazot? Very difficult word. But from Purim we should know. Do you know Purim, everybody celebrate the same date?
No.
No. What the difference between Tel Aviv and Yerushalayim?
Shushan,
Walled city.
No, I'm talking about Purim.
It's a walled city. Use different dates for the walled cities.
Oh, so if the city, Perazot, no walls around. If you have a city like Yerushalayim that they have walls from Yoshua bin Nun, they read the Megillah on the 15th of Adar. But in Tel Aviv, take Tel Aviv as an example, is a city without walls. It's called Perazot. Okay? Every city that there is no walls, it's called Perazot. We celebrate on 14th of Adar. So now how Yerushalayim will be? Perazot. What is Perazot? No walls. And Leona, you said, but everybody says, the opposite of breaking the walls is to build up the walls. But there is no walls. He said Yerushalayim will be Perazot. Now, more than this, is going to be a wall, but not the wall that you think in your mind. Look line 9, Pasuk Tet. Va'ani ehyeh la ne'um Adonai. Hashem said, I will be the walls. How? Chomat esh. Can you translate the word Chomat esh?
Wall of fire.
Walls of fire. Saviv ulchavod hayeh betocha. That means we're going to have a very spiritual walls. So cannot be to build up a wall regularly. We're talking about a very special walls. But still, so the question is still valid. What is the tikkun for Shiva Asar B'Tammuz? Okay, to understand this, I would like to ask you a question. How many nations we have in the world?
70?
70. It's expression. It's not mathematically, but it's expression. 70 nations. Now the next question, how many of them like the Jews?
0.
Absolutely right. Unfortunately. Absolutely right. Now, if I ask the smart people, the intellectual people from this, these nations, why you hate the Jews? What they say? They have any rationale?
They have their rationale, but it's not...
What their nationale? You know what Hitler said? Yimach Shmo v'zichro? The world will be much better without the Jews.
Because
That's not rationale.
he didn't want that there should be a country
conscience in the world. He wanted that they should be able to do
Ah, that's true. That's the same thing. Remember Ahmadinejad was the president of Iran? He said the Holocaust never happened. We have to get rid of the Jews. The Middle East will look much better without the Jews. You think they changed their mind?
No.
No, at all. Not at all. So, but if he said, you know when the hatred started? When Hashem gave us the Torah. Do you remember what the name of the mountain?
Har Sinai.
Sinai. Do you know how to say hatred?
Sinai.
Sinai. You know, the name of the mountain was really Har Horeb. He called it Sinai because Sinai yarda la'olam. You know, Sinai yarda la'olam. The hatred came to the world. No reason. That's part of the nature. Esav sonel Yaakov. Part of the nature is Esav sonel Yaakov. They hate us. No reason. No rationale. So what we have virtually, you know, I'm talking, you know, not physically, but virtual. What we have between us and the Goyim?
Hatred.
Give me another word for this hatred. What we have between us? We don't hate the Goyim like they hate us. Believe me. We hate the people who wants to kill us, but we don't hate the people just Goy because he's a Goy. You will not see Jews like this. There is no mitzvah chas v'shalom. Hillel said, Ohev et habriot, love human being. But we don't have the same hatred. Look at the Arabs and us. We giving them everything to be civilized, to protect their own children, to give them good education, to give them medication. Everything will do for peace. And what they do with the money? Building up tunnels under the grounds to kill us. You see, that's the difference between a Jew and a Goy. And in this case, it's the Arabs. Okay? Take Gaza, take Lebanon, take this. No reason. Many intellectual Arabs, they know the fact. They know that we want peace. And many of them, not many of them, some of them got the guts. Read the book, The Prince. I don't know if you ever read the book. He's the son of a terrorist. Wrote the book. What he wrote, the difference between Jews and Goyim. And he said, you know, we would be like the Jews, would be the best country in the world. We have to learn from them what they did after the Shoah and what we do. And he compared the Jews, you know, compliment the Jews a lot. But here we have, you know, this virtual, he said, you know, instead of hatred, is a wall. Is mechitza, is a wall. It's virtual wall, but not physically wall. So this wall, you know what happened when the Mashiach will come at the Tikkun? Is going to be removed. Look, do you know who is going to pray? Who is going to pray in Bet HaMikdash? Everybody. Do you remember the word? Look at the pasuk of Yeshayahu. V'aviotim el har kodeshi. I'm going to bring them to my holy mountain. V'simachtim bevet tfilati, and I will make them happy in my Bet HaMikdash. Olotehem v'zivhem, all their sacrifices will come up to me. Ki beti, my house, Hashem says, bet tfilah, go in the house of prayer. Yikare lemi lechol ha'amim. All the nations going to be waiting in line. The line you see in Disneyland is nothing compared to the line in Bet HaMikdash. The Muslims, the Christians, everybody will come to pray. So the tikkun for Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, the hatred going to be removed. This virtual wall is going to be removed. So it's not to build up a wall, it's to build up love and to build up, you know, relationship with the Goyim. That's the tikkun of Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. Be'ezrat Hashem.
Amen.
So here you see the shever, Vayomer Yaakov, Yeshever b'Mitzrayim. Now redu shama, go down. You know what is go down? Why you said go down? Why you didn't say go? Why go down? Remember, Eretz Israel is the highest spiritually. If you go to outside of Israel, it's go down. But if you go to Eretz Israel, what you do? Ole, you go up. That's he said, Redu Shama. Redu, by the way, do you know what is the gematria of Redu? Resh is 200. Dalet is 4 and Vav is 6.
4.
What is together 204 and 6?
210.
210. Is it this number remind you something?
Yes.
How many years we were in Egypt? We were 210 years in Egypt. Yes. He said, Redu Shama veshivru lanu misham shivru. You see, is a positive. Venihye velo namut. We will live and we will not die. You see that the word shever is very positive here. See? And if you, usually, but today, when we use either in Hebrew or in Spanish or in English, when you see the word crisis or crisis or mashber, usually we're talking about negative. But you have to understand that mashber is chesed. Chesed that Hashem making with people. Do you understand the logic behind it? What happened to us when we are in crisis?
We unite.
Yes, that's right.
As a nation. What happened to you when you have a private crisis? Usually we're going through the crisis and we control. Sometimes it takes 1 day, sometimes 1 week, sometimes few years. But let's say, I'll give you just an example, okay? All of a sudden, let's say financially you're not doing good and you do not know how to manage your house. And then all of a sudden you found you are minus in the bank, you owe to the bank $500,000. But you don't know how to pay it. And the bank have collection and they have the police and they can put you in jail. Said, oh my gosh, that's a crisis. Financial crisis. What you take a professional advisor, consultant, and this consultant, he said, listen, I'll help you, but I'll be with you just in one condition. You follow my advice. And he give you how to live, what not to buy anymore, and how to make life not easier, but more productive. And I'm telling you that in 3, 4, 5 years, you'll break even with the bank. You come to the agreement, you pay to the bank every month certain amount of money you can afford, but you buy much less. You're not going to the malls like you used to go, but you follow your consultant. After 3 years, you broke even with the bank. He said, what do you say? Wow, I would never believe I can make it. So what Hashem discover you? He discover you forces and energy and ability that you have inside you and you did not realize you have this potential. But when you realize you have this potential? Only after the crisis. So the crisis make us stronger or weaker? Stronger, most of the time. Not all the time. But because I discover who am I. I'll give you an example from the army. For the army, in Israel is the best example because everybody going, the first 4 or 5 months, it's called Tironut. You do the beginning in the army, but to get a hat, you have to walk in one night 60 kilometers. 60 kilometers is to walk in one night is a lot. And many soldiers said, I cannot make it. It's too much for me. Today, the IDF has very good trick. You know what? Today, not in my time. Today in the morning, you walk all night, and in the morning, your parents waiting for you. So he said, if I'll go to the doctor, I pretend I'm sick. What my parents? He said, I have to show my parents I'm gever, I'm strong. And you're going to do it. He said, I don't know how, but I'll do it. In the morning, all of a sudden, you did walk 60 kilometers. You did walk. Why you discover? How the soldier feels? You know how he feels? Happy, happy, happy. You know what he said, strong man in Hebrew? Gever. Baruch HaGever. He said, I am a man, I need Gever. I'm a strong soldier. If not the army, if not this crisis, I would never believe I can walk in one night 60 kilometers. But now Hashem revealed to me, discovered to me, I can walk 60 kilometers. I can walk in one night. You see, so we have financial crisis. We have all the, sometimes you lose, I have to show you the picture. I didn't bring, it's in my camera. The 4 people that got killed last week. They got killed, 4 murdered. They were murdered by terrorists. And 2 of them lived in next door to my place in Yad Binyamin. But one of them is a grandson of my friend. His grandfather is my friend. And I came to make nichum over there and I spoke. I said, how people can go through this crisis? How could you find rationale, to lose a child? If a child bury his parents, that's normal. When the parents bury, and how old is he? He's 21. He's 21 years old. And I don't know if you saw his picture. He's unbelievable. His name is Ariel. You see, like he jumped up from the Bible. Peot, like this. He has a big peot, big peot, big beard. And and he is taking a land over there of Lier Hebron. Love Eretz Israel. He's doing because he loves Eretz Israel. And go now, tell the parents how to handle. But Be'ezrat Hashem, I heard the parents even talking. They talking, how special. They know that if Hashem took him, he took him because he's a tzaddik. Because they took him. But after the Shiva, after Shloshim, they have to handle the crisis and make something good, out of this crisis. But this is an example that it is very hard. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, we have some. I'd like to tell you now who the Navi is trying to compare. The big crisis is the Yoledet. What is Yoledet? The woman who delivers a baby. Who is giving birth to. And I don't have to tell you. Because he said everybody, when you have contractions, you have so much. Do you remember what the Yoledet giving after the birth? We learned this. Huh?
The sacrifices.
How many?
The Hatat and the sin. The sin offering. And
Hatat and Olah.
Olah, yes.
Hatat and Olah. Now Olah is makes sense. Olah is elevating. You elevate everything to Hashem. And she realized, the Yoledet realized that she is partner of God. And she says, wow, this baby, who brought this baby to the world? My husband, me, and Hashem. We are partners. So she's so elevated, she bring Korban Olah. But do you remember, Martha, why she bring Korban Hatat?
Yes.
Why?
yes.
Why?
Because she promised she would never have another kid.
Okay. But what is Hatat? She promised, she swore. She made a neder that she would not bring any more children. But now, after she under no pain, she wants another child. I said, no, you broke the vow, you have to bring Hatat. But you remember what is Hatat? Hatat het is to miss the goal, to miss the destination. Lahti is to miss. Remember, I gave you an example with somebody who's playing soccer or football. He's alone right next, just push the ball to the net. But he missed it. It's called Wahti. You know what she missed? What the Yoledet missed? You know what she didn't see? What did she see?
And Olah.
Hashem.
Martha. Martha said it again.
Hashem.
She did not see Hashem. Olah, she saw Hashem. Hatat, she didn't see Hashem. Said 1 minute of crisis. 1 minute. The opposite, because you're in a mashber, you have to see Hashem. Only Hashem can help you. Now Hashem is giving you this example of Yoledet to Gog Magog. You know what is Gog Magog? Gog Magog is going to be the Third World War. It's going to be very, very tough war. And he said, oh my gosh, you know, the Navi described Gog Magog like destruction of the world, not of Bet HaMikdash. He said, now, so Hashem say about the Yoledet, he took the Yoledet and paralleled it to Yerushalayim. Look what he said, Ki ba'u banim ad mashber vekoach ayin laleda. Means, you know, the Yoledet has the contraction and she feels she has no more energy and force and strength to bring the baby out. Okay? And now look what Hashem says. Line, you see line 5? Ha'ani ashbir velo olid, yomar Adonai. What is Ani ashbir? Who brought the crisis? Who brought the contraction to the Yoledet? Me. So if I brought her, I gave her 9 months to carry the baby. I give her now some sort of pains. You think I will not help her to deliver the baby? He said, you know, I'm escort this lady for 9 months I am with her. So you think because of contraction I will not, I will help her to deliver the baby. So he took the Yoledet as a metaphor to Gog Magog. He said, who brought you? Now Gog Magog is the contractions, is the pain. He said, I brought Gog Magog. You think I will not show you the Mashiach? I will not show you the redemption. The baby of the lady is the redemption. He said, you know, look what he says in line 11. אחר שהמשיל צור לאישה יולדת, אמר אני אשביר ולא הוליד? כלומר, אם אביא האישה על המשבר ולא הוליד אותה, I'll brought the woman, the lady, all the way for 9 months and I'm not going to help her to deliver the baby? It's impossible. Of course I will be with her. So, ואם אבוא על ציון על המשבר ומלחמת גוג ומגוג, now ציון, ירושלים, is like, you know, with contraction, with Gog Magog. באמת הוליד אותם. I will help them to deliver the baby. The baby is the Mashiach. והלידה, the birth, is the Yeshua, is the redemption. So Hashem said to us, you know, when I bring crisis to people, I also bring the redemption to the people. But we don't have to lose hope. We don't have to lose faith. And we have to stick to Hashem, not to miss Hashem. Hashem will help us to go through this crisis. And then we'll discover, many times said, I'm so glad I had this crisis. Without this crisis, I wouldn't know what is said. You know, when the woman has this contraction, not only some woman said, I prefer to die and not to have this pain. She really mean the words? I prefer to die? Has v'shalom. It's just a moment of crisis. That's all. Now I'm going, before I go to Parashat Chukat, we have one more point I would like to share with you. And whoever has the good memory, I think I mentioned this in previous years, because this is a good example for crisis. You know, how many aliyot on Shabbat we read in the Torah? How many people make aliyah on Shabbat? 7. 7 plus maftir. Okay? Are we allowed to make less? No. Are we allowed to make more? Yes. Usually when we make more, when we have Hatuna, Bar Mitzvah, and we have guests in the Bet Knesset, and we divide it. But, now listen to the halacha. When the Hazan read the Torah, he always has to end up the paragraph with something good, not bad. You know this halacha? I see Ruth said yes.
With the notes.
Yeah, you have to end up the aliyah with something good, not something bad. Okay, is it clear? So if aliyah, I have to end up with something good, the end of the parasha is, of course, we have to end something good. And if I said the end of the parasha is something good, the end of the Chumash, of course, should be something good. If the end of the Chumash should be something good, the end of the Torah must be very good, not just good. So I'd like to go with you to the last pasuk of the Torah. Martha, you smile. Do you remember?
Last time, yes.
Okay. So help us. Okay? Because he said, Ulchol hayad, this is the last pasuk, line 6. Ulchol hayad hazaka, the strong arm. Usually when he says strong arm, who is this?
Hashem.
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 Every said, you know, Yad Hazaka in Egypt is Hashem. Ulchol Amora Gadol, in the awesome, you know, big day. Asher Asa Moshe, with Moshe did Le'ene Kol Israel, in front of the eyes of all the Jewish people, all Israel. What? But the pasuk is not clear. Wait a minute, he said, you know, he said, what Moshe did Le'ene Kol Israel? Do you know what did he do? Martha, do you remember?
No, sorry.
I'm glad that you came. You see why we have to study Torah all the time? You have to study. You know what he did? You'll be surprised. He broke the 2 tablets.
Wow.
Le'ene Kol Israel, he broke the 2 tablets. And you know who is the Yad HaZakah? Not Hashem. Moshe.
Yad Shel Moshe?
Moshe. Now, what question you ask me now?
It's not so beautiful.
It's not so. What do you mean not so beautiful? What
It's very sad.
said? What? What's said? So what the question is? How you end up the Torah with something not good? We said even aliyah of 3 psukim, you have to end up with something good. Now the whole Torah, you end up that Moshe broke the 2 tablets? That's question number 1. Question number 2, how you could say a human being Yada Hazaka? Yada Hazaka is adjective, and it's when you describe Hashem. How could you put? Now I'm going to give you something I didn't put in the text, but if you remember, I told you, if you remember, the length of the 2 tablets was 6 tfahim. 6 tfahim. Each tefah is 8 centimeter. That means it's like 48 centimeter, the length. Means like almost half of a meter. Okay? It's the length and the width. Was 6 by 6. Now Moshe wanted, when Hashem told him that your people made a big sin, he took the 2 tablets. Hashem said, don't take it. They don't deserve it. Moshe said, it's mine. Hashem said, no, it's mine. And Hashem is holding. Now listen to me. If not the Gemara in Yerushalmi, I wouldn't say it to you. Hashem is holding 2 tfahim. Moshe is holding 2 tfahim. Hashem is pulling to his side, and Moshe is pulling to side. By the way, how many tfahim is revealed? 2, the middle one. By the way, from the middle of the Luhot, Moshe got shine and horns to his face. Reflection of light. Remember the face of Moshe was with light? That was for the middle 2 tfahim. But now, how could I, as a human being, what do you mean Hashem, Moshe is fighting physically against Hashem? You know, Moshe is pulling and Hashem is pulling. And you know worse than this? You want to hear? Who won?
Moshe.
Moshe won. That's beyond our comprehension. He said that Moshe won. And you know what he did with the 2 tablets? He broke them. You know what Hashem told him? Yeah. It's interesting. Martha, you're Ashkenaziyah. The Sfaradim say Hazaku Baruch. But you know what he said? He didn't say Hazaku Baruch. He said Yishar Koch. Yishar Kochacha Sheshibarta. Look at line 11. Look like 11. And say line 9. Le'ene Kol Israel. Rashi. Shensaol Libo Lishbor Alochot Le'enehem. He wanted to break the 2 tablets to their eyes. Va'ashaberem le'enechem. And I broke the 2 tablets in front of your eyes. Ve'izkima da'at HaKadosh Baruch Hu le'da'ato. And Hashem agreed with Moshe that he broke the 2 tablets. אז הוא אומר לו, אשר שיברת, יישר כוחך ששיברת. And you know, in the Sfardim, he said, חזק וברוך. יישר כוחך ששיברת. So what is the last word in the written Torah? What is the last word of the written Torah? Israel. What is the last word of the oral Torah, Torah שבעל פה? ששיברת. ששיברת. So the last word of the Torah שבעל פה, the last word is משבר, is שבירה. So look, שבירת הלוחות היה היד החזקה. When you said strong arm, it's the strong of Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay? And he said ששיברת. How is it possible? Could you explain to me why Hashem said to him, יישר כוחך ששיברת? Why you complimented him?
Because he broke the contract.
What he?
He broke the contract that we did not have to go to another idols.
Okay. But more, I would like to go a little bit deeper than this. You see, I would like to show you this cup. You see the cup? Let's say it's a glass. Okay? Can I take this cup, this glass and break it?
Yes.
Why? Halachically. Why? It's mine. It's mine. I paid for it and can do whatever I want with this. But if it's belong to the Bet Knesset, I am drinking coffee in Bet Knesset, can I break the glass?
No.
No, it's not mine. You know what Moshe proved by breaking the tablets?
That was his.
That's the Torah belong to human being.
Wow.
Hashem said, Yishar kochacha, sheshibarta. Because you proved to everyone the Torah belong. Remember, the angels refused to give the Torah to human being. But Hashem said, Yishar kochacha sheshibarta. Now, do you remember the financial crisis I gave you before? You know, when you have crisis of hunger, when you broke even with the bank, after 3 years of crisis, and Baruch Hashem, you control the crisis and now you break even. What you said to yourself, from now on what?
We are stronger.
What?
We are stronger after the crisis.
But he said, from now on, I'm going to start from scratch. Now, no more mistakes. I'm going to start from scratch. Help me, how you translate to Hebrew to start from scratch?
מתחילים.
Ruth? Yeah.
מתחילים.
כן, good, מתחילים. He said, you know, and he said, להתחיל מההתחלה. להתחיל מההתחלה, to start from scratch. You know another word for התחלה? התחלה is beginning. Can you give me another, what?
בראשית.
Bereshit. Now he said the last word of the Torah לעיני כל ישראל, נכון? What is the next word?
בראשית.
Bereshit. After לעיני כל ישראל, now להתחיל מבראשית. Now after we broke the 2 tablets, we go and start from the beginning. בראשית ברא אלוקים את השמיים ואת הארץ. He said, now I'm going to start from scratch. You know, when you are after crisis, you learn from the crisis how to handle, not to have another crisis. You try not to be smart and to be proactive. And he said, I'm going to start from scratch, מברשית. So, לעיני כל ישראל, בראשית ברא אלוקים. לעיני כל ישראל, in Simchat Torah is Hatan Torah. But after Hatan Torah, we have Hatan Bereshit.
Yes.
You know what you need, by the way, to start from scratch and to be very in good control on your life? You know what you know? You have to renew your heart. You know, you need a new heart. לב טהור ברא לי אלוקים ורוח נכון חדש בקרבי. Please renew, because the heart, we have 2 rooms in the heart that bring blood and take out blood. So the heart is really the headquarter of the system. You know that all the blood going through the heart. נכון? You remember when saying we have 2 rooms the heart. That's why, you know, we need a new heart. You know what the last letter of the Torah?
למד.
Last letter of the Torah.
Lamed.
Lamed.
Yes, sir.
What is the first letter of the Torah?
Bet.
What is Lamed Bet?
לב.
Lev.
Lev. לב טהור ברא לי אלוקים, ורוח נכון חדש בקרבי. Said Hashem, please create a pure heart in my heart. Now after the breaking the tablets, I would like to get now second tablets, but now I'm not going to make another Egel Zav, Haz v'Shalom. I have to be in good shape. That's good heart. Now we talk about crisis. Nachon? After we talk about crisis, you know that this parashat Chukat, you remember how many years we were in the Midbar, in the wilderness?
40 years.
40 years. You know which year is parashat Chukat?
39, 1 year before.
The 40th. Mamash 40th. We are the last, remember the 60 kilometer I told you in the army? You know which kilometer is the hard one?
The
Last week we learned about this. Okay? The last kilometer is the most difficult. Now, the last week we spoke about, you know, the Edom, the fight Edom and Sihok and Og. But today, I would like to show you, and I told you last week, we learned this week about this. Today, we have another crisis. Big crisis. You know what happened? Who are the people that because of them we survive in the desert?
Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam.
Very good. Why Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam are the main people?
We have the water, the pillars of the nubes, the Anabim,
Who gave the clouds?
and the man,
Who gave the Ananim? Let's go step by step.
Aaron,
Aaron. Who gave the man?
Moshe,
Moshe. Who gave the water?
Miriam.
So, my dear friend, what I'm trying to tell you, when he said these three people, is not only they give shiurim, you know, in Parashat HaShavua, or, you know, spiritual life. They gave us to, you know, to survive physically. Moshe brought the man. You know, and what happened now? Now they know that Moshe is not going to bring them to Eretz Israel. We learned about this in previous parashot. Now look what happened. ויבואו בני ישראל כל העדה מדבר צין בחודש הראשון, the first month. Which month is this?
Israel?
Nisan. וישב העם בקדש, and the nation settled in Kadesh, ותמות שם מרים ותיקבר שם. You know what happened in month of Nisan 40 years ago?
Miriam, Aaron, they died.
No, 40 years ago, not now. You know, we got mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh.
Yes.
Remember, we went out of Egypt and we got the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh. Now, this Miriam, that during 40 years, and because of her, Moshe Rabbeinu was born. Because of her, she fed him, she brought her mother. This lady always, all Moshe is the shadow of Miriam. He owes her big time. And this Miriam with the water, she died. That's one tragedy. Vatikaver sham, even though it is very nature, that somebody died, but why now? Why Hashem did not give her 3 more years to come to Eretz Israel? Between you and me, I'll give you a personal story, that happened to my grandfather, that I never saw him. But my father, telling him he was a big time rabbi in Yemen. And now he died. He was on the bed in Teman, in Yemen. He died, and my uncle, the firstborn, my father was not the firstborn, my uncle was next to him. While, everybody is waiting for the funeral, he saw that something in his throat moving. In his throat moving. He said, wait. He's not dying. He's not dying. He's alive. And they brought the doctor, whoever was there, and they noticed that he's alive. He's not dead. When he woke up and he started to speak, he told all his children, my father was his grandson. He told all the family he died. And he asked Hashem, please, let me be buried in Eretz Israel. Hashem, he said, appeared to him in the request. He said, I gave to Hizkiah 15 years extension to his life. I'll give you 4 more years to live, to come to Eretz Israel and be buried. And guess what? 4 years later, they made Aliyah from Teman to Eretz Israel with my grandfather, and he died few months after he came to Eretz Israel. You know, and until now, his grave with a big tent over his grave, and many people going to pray near his grave. Where he said, you know, but you know, it was, so Hashem did give to somebody, to my grandfather, I don't see, you know, compared to Miriam, I said, Hashem, why you don't give to Miriam a few more years? What is the big deal for you? But no, Miriam is, you know, she has to be buried not in Eretz Israel. This is something unbelievable. That's a crisis number 2. Now the first crisis, they knew that Moshe is not coming. Nachon? Now the next one. Vayis'u Kadesh, they traveled from Kadesh after Miriam died. Vayavo bnei Israel kol ha'eda Hor Ahar. You know what is Hor Ahar? Mountain on the top of another mountain. You ever heard this mountain? Hor Ahar. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe vel Aaron behor Ahar al gul Eretz Edom. Is mamash in the border with Eretz Edom. יאסף אהרון אל עמיו כי לא יבוא אל הארץ אשר נתתי לבני ישראל על אשר מריתם את פי לימי מריבה. Remember last week we learned? Aaron was punished and he said, you go to Hor Ahar and Aaron is going to die over there and you, Moshe, you going to take care of his death. Wow. So now, not only Moshe is not to bring them, not Miriam and not Aaron. I would like to give you a metaphor. I mean, it's very hard for me, but just to, you know, for you to comprehend the crisis. Could you imagine that we have Has v'Shalom now a war against 18 Arab countries, okay? All of them getting together, like in 1948, and they're trying to destroy Israel, okay? Could you imagine? Now, who are in a war the most important people to be the leaders? Who? The Prime Minister and the Minister of Security and the Chief of Staff. Could you imagine that 3 of them will die one after one? What will happen to the nation? Big crisis. Big crisis. And that's what happened to the Jewish people. That's exactly what happened before they go to Eretz Israel. Moshe, Miriam, and Aaron. Not only 2 brothers and 1 sister, but they are the pillars. They are the foundation. They are the solid. They are the oxygen of the Jewish people. You know, when they came, they went up with the, you know, with Elazar. Let's see if I have it here. We'll go back, you know, to Aaron later on, but I would like also to go with you now to Parashat Para Aduma. Remember, the beginning of Chukat is Para Aduma, and you know that Para Aduma, the big question, remember what we asked last week? Why Hashem put Para Aduma, you know, before the death of Aaron Miriam? And why he put Para Aduma Bichlal in Parashat Chukat? Para Aduma, you know when it happened? It happened before they built up the Mishkan. Long time ago. Number 1. Number 2, why you call it that Chukat Torah? He said that Chukat Para, not a Torah. That Chukat, you understand the question? And number 3, he said, you know, who knows Para Aduma? Only Moshe. V'ikhu elecha, to you, Moshe. You are the only one who know the logic about Para Aduma. Do you remember who is the wisest one since creation of the history of the Jewish people? Who is the wisest person? Huh? Shlomo Melech. Tell me, do you remember what Shlomo Melech said when he learned Para Aduma?
He couldn't understand it.
It's far from him.
Not only this, every day I learn Para Aduma is getting further. That mean, but Shlomo had higher, more IQ than Moshe Rabbeinu. So that means it's not going by IQ. It's not going by IQ. Moshe had something that Shlomo didn't have it. You know what Moshe had better than Shlomo?
Humility.
What?
Humility.
Nachon. Nachon. But do you think that Shlomo was arrogant?
No.
No. But he was not in the level of Moshe. Moshe, remember the word nullification? When Moshe nullified himself compared to God, how much of his gashmiut, how much he nullified? You know how much? 100%. That means that Moshe and Hashem is almost one. But Shlomo maybe had 1 gram of ego. Maybe 1 microgram of ego. And that's like Moshe. So what you need a value, not IQ. What the value is to be humble, to be anav, to nullify yourself compared to Hashem. You know, en od milvado. And only Moshe succeeded to nullify himself completely. Even Avraham Avinu, that he was very humble, he said, "Va'anochi afar va'efer." I am a dust, but dust is something. But Moshe said, "Ve'nachnu ma." Nothing. I am nothing. Everything I do is from Hashem. And you know what the Parah is teaching us? Do you know who did not, thought that he is smarter than Moshe? Remember? Korah. Korah also did not take the Parah Aduma. He thought that he knows everything. All the people that in Sefer Bamidbar was against Moshe, even Miriam goofed big time. What was the sin of Miriam? That she loved Moshe. You know what her sin was?
Lashon hara.
But what was the Lashon Hara?
She said he separated from Zipporah.
But what was the Lashon Hara?
She thought she
That's-
was going to be in the same level as Moshe.
That's the point. She compared herself to Moshe. That means what Miriam doesn't know? She doesn't know even the madrega, the level of her brother. Even Nadav and Avihu did not know the level of Moshe. Everybody in Sefer Bamidbar has a problem, with Moshe's leadership. Everybody has a problem with Moshe's leadership. And now you have to understand, you know what the Parah Aduma teaching us from Shlomo Melech? We do not know everything. Not everything we know. And we have to be humble to say it. Some people think they know everything. That is it. Number 2, you know what the Parah is teaching us? That everything is reversible. Everything. You can make pure, impure, and can make impure, pure. You want to be Baal Tshuva? You can do this. All these sins in Sefer Bamidbar, that's why he said now. Now he's giving us this dafka here and not Sefer Vayikra, is, to teach us to be humble. And, we can make tikkun. Everybody can make tikkun. And, last but not least, everything has replacement. And we'll see the next move, that everybody could be replaced. Everything, I'm going forward. I explained to you already. Look what he said, how Hashem sanctified Am Israel, and he sanctified his name. Okay? וקידשתי את שמי הגדול. I'm going to sanctify my awesome name. המחולל בגויים, that the goyim make חילול. They do not, they are against Hashem. אשר חיללתם בתוכם וידעו הגויים, and the goyim, the nations, we know. כי אני השם, נאום השם אלוקים. That I am God. How they know that I am the God, the Lord of the world? When I sanctify you, I will sanctify you in front of their eyes. ולקחתי אתכם מן הגויים, and I will gather you from all the goyim, including Panama. וקיבצתי אתכם מכל הארצות, I gather you from all the countries, והבאתי אתכם אל אדמתכם, and I bring you to the land of Israel. You know what, how we do it? He's doing it, look how we do it. You know? וזרקתי עליכם מים טהורים וטהרתם מכל טומאותיכם. I will throw pure water, and you will be purified from your impurity. ומכל גילוליכם, from all the idols you work, אטהר אתכם, I'll make you pure. Do you remember the last letter? We said לב, ונתתי לכם, and I'll give you, what the next word?
לב
לב what?
חדש.
לב חדש. Remember I tell you, new heart. ורוח חדשה, new spirit. אתן בקרבכם. והסירותי לב האבן. You know why? Because your heart was from stone. You were stubborn. מבשרכם. ונתתי לכם לב בשר. Now the stone will be changed from בשר, from meat, from flesh. ואת רוחי אתן בקרבכם. You know what I'll put inside you? My spirit. The image of God. ועשיתי את אשר בחוקתי תלכו משפטי תשמרו ועשיתם אותם. וישבתם בארץ, and you will settle in the land. אשר נתתי לאבותיכם, which I gave to your forefathers. והייתם לי לעם, and you will be my nation. ואנוכי אהיה לכם לאלוהים. And I'll be your God. And all this the nations will see, and everybody, you know, will love the Jewish people. That's a good example. Now I'm going to the main thing. Remember Aaron, where he was buried? Who buried Aaron?
Sure.
No.
No.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Moshe.
Moshe, I thought you said Hashem. Moshe and whom?
Yes.
And who was with Moshe?
The sons.
Eliezer?
Elazar, his son. Do you know why he took Elazar?
Because he was going to be the next.
Okay, that's the big message we have here. אז הוא לקח את אהרון ואת אלעזר בנו ועלה אותם אור ההר. תק אהרון תאור ההר והפשט את אהרון את בגדיו, remove his clothes, והלבשתם את אלעזר בנו, put the clothes on אלעזר. ואהרון יאסף ומת שם. Sad, but that's the nature. Aaron will die over there. Now, do you remember who defeated the angel of death last week? Aaron. Now, who took his neshama? The angel of death. So what you ask? How angel of death defeated Aaron? Aaron last week defeated him. You say, look, ויעש משה, כאשר ציווה אדוני ועלו אותו לאור ההר לעיני כל העדה. נכון? The whole nations see Moshe and Elazar and Aaron going to the mountain. והפשט, you know, he came from the אור ההר. Now, ויראו כל העדה, now, כי גבה אהרון. Now they said to Moshe and said, what's going on? Where is Aaron? Look what he said. They asked Moshe, where is Aaron? Look what he says. ויראו כל העדה, כשראו משה ואלעזר יורדים ואהרון לא ירד, they saw Moshe ואלעזר coming down and Aaron not there. אמרו, and they said, היכן הוא אהרון? Where is Aaron? אמר להם, he said to them, מת. He died. אמרו לו, impossible. אפשר מי שעמד כנגד המלאך ועצר את המגפה, ישלוט בו מלאך המוות? Is it possible that somebody was, you know, defeated the angel of death? Now the angel of death control him? Miyad. What is miyad? Immediately, bikesh Moshe rachamim. Moshe asked for mercy. Who did he ask from? Mercy.
Hashem.
Hashem. Why mercy? Why did he ask Hashem? He said, I want, please, mercy. Mercy what?
To defeat angel of death.
The angel of death did his job. He did. He took Aaron already. Aaron died. What mercy ask? You know, people say, you know what mercy? Now, look. והראו מלאכי השרת להם מוטל במיטה. והראו מלאכי השרת, the angel of death, took Aaron coffin, casket, and they showed to the Jewish people that Aaron is dead. ראו, what is ראו?
They saw.
They saw, והאמינו,
They believe.
and they believed. Believed what?
That Aaron is dead.
I knew you're going to say it. That, by the way, you're right absolutely, but you know, I like to go deep. You know, you remember you want cappuccino, somebody want cappuccino. You know, can somebody go deep? And he said, what did they believe?
Yes.
What?
That Hashem,
And Hashem took him alive.
No, but no, he's dead. They said mutal b'mita. He's dead.
והאמינו בשם ומשה עבדו.
What do you mean with Hashem? What they did? They don't. They said we ever said that they don't believe in Hashem? Has v'shalom. You know what they didn't believe? They didn't believe they can continue life. They mean there is continuation. There is continuity after. That's why he took El-Azar. When somebody, you know, Aharon is the one who caused Shlom Bait in every house. They cried and Aharon said more than Moshe Rabbeinu. 30 yom, 30 days they cried on Aharon. And you know what the difference said? You know, that's the difference. Said, now, He'eminu the Hidush. You're right. By the Pshat He'eminu, they believe that Aharon is dead. But now He'eminu when he said, Bikesh Rahamim, mercy from Hashem, let them, give them the emunah, the faith that there is continuity. You know, that's not the end of the world. Every time, you know, big leader can go. Last week, we have, you know, for the Jewish nation, but especially for Lubavitch, people, 21 years ago, the Rebbe died on Gimel Tammuz. You know what was it? People did not believe. And probably some of them still don't believe. But he said, you know, that's natural human being. You have to continue. And, you know, that's what he said. That's the crisis. This is a big crisis. The moment that they believe that Al-Azhar can replace his father, that's the moment they got a new energy. That's the mercy. You know, said, you know, to be together. And now we understand when we have now, if you're talking about, I will go to, okay, do you remember in the Red Sea, when they crossed the Red Sea, you know, they sang. Do you remember the first pasuk? אז
ישיר משה ובני ישראל.
את השירה הזאת, נכון? אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה. So the song, the poem gives so much, I said, you know, good moral, you know, good spirit, you know, to be together, everybody. And Miriam, you know what Miriam did? She took the woman and she sang with the woman. But Miriam is the leader of the ladies, and Moshe is the leader, and Aaron the leader of the men. And they singing beautifully. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני ויאמרו לאמור השיר על אדוני כי גאו גאה סוס ורחבו, etc., etc. And many people has tuned melodies to this, you know, for this shira. But you know what they did here now? Guess what? Another poem. Look at the poem, line 17. אז
ישיר ישראל.
את השירה הזאת עלי באר ענו לה. Who's singing here?
עם ישראל.
And who is missing?
משה.
Not Moshe and not Miriam. Not Moshe and not Miriam. את השירה הזאת עלי באר. Now they have the well. ענו לה. באר חפרו. Let's see who dug the well. Who dug? Not יצחק, not Moshe. באר חפרו השרים. קראו הנדיבי העם. You know who made this well? The people, the nations. Without Moshe, without Miriam, without Aaron. They dug the wall. You will see in 2 minutes why this well is so important. Mimhokek and etc., etc. So now you see the poem, the song of the nations. בשירת הים, כולם שרו in line 9. Everybody was singing. Also the leaders. והכל בזכות אותה קביצה. You know, the שירת הים of Yam Suf. Because of Nachshon ben Aminadav. We got such a high spirit. But you know who made for us this, you know, this kriya over there? Who made all the nisim over there? Hashem. Period.
Hashem.
We did something? Nothing. Do you remember the pasuk? Hashem yilachem lachem
ואתם תחרישון.
v'atem taharishun. So what is it? Do you remember the expression? Ita'aruta del ela, ita'aruta del tata. What is ita'aruta del ela? When Hashem is doing all the work for us. So who split the Red Sea? Hashem. Who did everything? Hashem. What the people did? Nothing. Ita'aruta del ela or del tata? Ita'aruta del ela, up, down. Akol me Hashem. What happened with this well?
Down up.
So ita'aruta de letata. The opposite, from down up. It said, and now, who is the happiest one here?
Hashem.
Hashem. Why Hashem is very happy? Because the people gathered together and they were working together, did not go through the crisis. They discovered, now if you said, let's say the year 38, not 40th year, if people would say to people, I have bad news for you. Moshe and Aaron and Miriam gone and die. What people would say to them? You crazy, nuts. Nobody can go to Eretz Israel without this family. And now they saw, even if Aaron and Moshe and Miriam died, they can make it. Always. We have Elazar, we have Yoshua. We have people who continue the future of the people. And now look what he says. You tell me which word is the key. Misham be'era, here be'er, this is the well. Asher amar Adonai leMoshe, esof et ha'am ve'etena la'hem mayim. You know which word is the key word here?
Esof.
What is esof?
Together.
Oh,
Together.
gather the nations together. Is it remind you something? Who said this before? Who tried to give the future, to tell the future to the Yaakov? So you remember what he said to his children? "Ha'asefu va'agida lachem et asher ikra etchem b'acharit hayamim." Gather yourself together. And you know what the secret here? Your future is you gathering yourself together. If you will be tough brother together, nobody will defeat you. If you'll be separated, one, every guy can destroy you completely. So esof et ha'am. This is when we are in crisis, and think about your family. Think about something that you have a crisis in the house. When you are feeling really good, when the whole family together. When the whole family together, it could be your family, it could be your community, it could be the whole nations. And that's why they are going together. Do you remember who was in post-trauma because of the separation of the brothers? Do you remember who? You must remember. Yosef. Do you remember what the angel told him? Or he said, what are you seeking? What are you looking for? He said, "Etahai anochi mevakesh." I'm looking for what? Brotherhood. Do you remember the two words that the angel said to Yosef?
נשאו מזה.
Oh, very good, Ruth. נשאו מזה. Do you remember the word ze?
12.
12. Zayin Hey is 12. That means they don't want to be 12. They want to be 11. Do you remember the last pasuk of Yosef before he died?
לא.
פקוד יפקוד אלוהים אתכם ועליתם את עצמותיי מזה.
מזה.
The last word of Yosef was מזה. I want you to take my bones to Eretz Israel. Why he conclude with the word ze? He said to them, you never do again what you did. You have to be 12 tribes together. And who brought the bones to Eretz Israel?
Nobody.
Who?
Hashem. No, no, Am Yisrael.
Yeah, but who brought? Who is the one who was Moshe. Moshe was, the continuation of Yosef. Tell me now, what is the value of a bone in the stock market? Zero. So what's so important about the Atzmot Yosef, the bones of Yosef? You know what? Do you remember I taught you how to say power? power, like America is a power. Russia is, I don't know if Russia is a power anymore. But he say, but you know how to say power in Hebrew? Ma'atzama. Ma'atzama. You know what is otzma is power. If he said somebody is so like Moshe Rabbeinu, he said he is full with otzma. You know what Moshe took? He took the power of Yosef. Not only physically, the power of Yosef. What is the power? To be a ma'atzama, to be a power in the world, we have to stick together. Rabotai, remember I said it's not an option, it's not Var Torah. That's the key for the success of the Jewish people. All the time, and especially today. I'm going to conclude with the well. Remember Sfat Emet? Sfat Emet, yeah, the grandson of Hidushei Harim, he explained beautifully the well. But you know, he's Kabbalistic, so we have to go deep. Be'inyan Pia Be'er. Do you remember how many things Hashem created on Erev Shabbat Ben Hashmashot, Friday night, twilight time? Do you know how many things?
10.
10, very good. I will not ask you about the 10. Do you remember the first 3?
The staff of, I don't remember if it was the first 3, but the staff of Moshe was one.
What Moshe?
The staff of Moshe.
Ah, Mate, Ken. That's not the first 3.
Bala?
Okay, he said, look, Pi haaretz, Pi haaton, Pi habe'er, and Pi haaton. The mouth of the ground, the Pi haaretz, the mouth, he said Pi haaretz, Pi habe'er, the mouth of the well, and the mouth of the ground. Do you remember what was Korach? What happened in Korach? Hashem opened the ground.
Yeah.
That's Korah. And now, do you remember after Korah? Now Hashem, the well in Parashat Chukat. Nachon? Pia Be'er. And now, next week in Panama, we're going to have another mouth. Do you know who is going to open his mouth? The donkey. Ah, you remember the donkey. Now, you see, the first 3 things that Hashem cried, 3 parashot in a row. Parashat Korah, Parashat Chukat, and Parashat Balak. It's one after one. The first mount, that means we have a very, very important. Now, I would not go to you now for the rest of it. Next week we'll talk. I would not just talk about the well. Look what Hashem is saying to us. Do you remember what we get from Hashem every Shabbat? Hashem giving us a gift.
Neshama.
Ah, very good. Esther is here. Neshama Yetera. Do you understand, Esther, what is Neshama Yetera? Do you understand?
No, I don't understand. But
Very, very hard to understand, but now you will understand better. After this. בעניין פי הבאר שנברא בערב שבת בין השמשות, the mouth of the well that Hashem created on ערב Shabbat twilight time. דכתיב אסוף את העם ותנה להם מים, gather the nations together and I'll give them water. כי הקדוש ברוך הוא, ברוך שמו לעולם, מוכן כביכול להשפיע על התחתונים מטובו. Hashem wants to give us goodness or not?
yes.
Hashem is Chesed. Hashem would like to give. He'd like to give to whom?
Everybody.
To us. But to get something, and remember, he said this one, if I make Kiddush, let's say they said, what I need, but he said, what? What did he say?
Need to be a keli.
Ah, יפה מאוד. Now I need kli. I need kli. To put water or wine here, I need a kli. He said, I want to give you shefa. You know what is shefa?
Abundance.
יפה, shefa.
Plenty.
נכון. shefa. Shefa. Do you know how many pipes Hashem has to give us shefa? When you have water, you open the water and you have pipes. נכון? The pipes give water. He said, how many pipes Hashem has to give us water? Shefa? 22. You know what is swimming pool? נכון? But the Hashem has different pool. He has pool of brachot. And He wants to give us the brachot, the shefa to us. So we need pipes. You know how many pipes Hashem has? 22. Why 22?
Looks like the Aleph Bet.
Nachon! Esther! Oh my gosh, I have to prepare, I think, cappuccino. Say, I said, he has the pipe, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, each letter is a bracha. But Hashem said, prepare the kli. If you don't have kli, I cannot give you shefa. Arshiyo atachtonim, look, atachtonim means us, on the ground. Kelim, line 14. לקבל זה וזה הכוח בבני ישראל קיים. I want you to be the kelim. Like Hashem said, do you remember the bracha Hashem Yitzhak gave to Yaakov? He said to Yaakov, do you remember Yaakov Sofer, what bracha he gave us every day? ויתן לך אלוהים, מטל השמיים משמני הארץ. He said שכתוב, ויתן לך שהם הכלי מחזיק ברכה, כמו שכתוב, יברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. הם יכולים לתת את הברכה והם יכולים לאסוף את כל הפרטים. But to get all these details, all these brachot, you need a kli. You know what the kli in this case? The kli is the well, the be'er. Who prepared the be'er? Us! Us! We prepare the be'er. Now the be'er is going now to, to see the real word, but the Sfat Emet says. אומר באר והמעיין באר חפרו השרים קראו נדיבי העם במחוקק במשענותם. This is the best well ever. You know why it's the best well? Because Hashem did not make this well. You know who made this well? You. When you prepare the kli, Hashem is the happiest and the happiest one to give us the bracha. והיא השלמות שנמצא בכלל ישראל על ידי האבות והשבטים. שהם חפרו והוציאו את הפנימיות מן הכוח אל הפועל. Now he said, because we are this. Now I want you to help me to understand. After I understand, I hope you understand what is the kelim, how we are kelim, and Hashem is giving us the shefa, the brachot. We do this. So the bracha, look, he said, when we make the kli and we want the bracha from Hashem, you know what we say to Hashem? Everything is yours. When I get a bracha from Hashem, let's say I got money, okay, from Hashem. Bracha. To get money is a bracha. I get health. It's a bracha. But הכל של השם. והכל מהשם. הכל השם והכל מהשם. Look line 7, I put it big. שמבררים, when you clarify to yourself, שהכל השם והכל מהשם. Everything belongs to Hashem, and everything I have is belong to Him. And that's what happened in Erev Shabbat. It's in Erev Shabbat. Because Erev Shabbat, you count how much money you made during the week. When you count, let's say you're a lucky guy, and you have millions of dollars or thousands, doesn't matter. But you count and you see how much profit you made. But don't forget what? שהכל Hashem והכל מהשם. If you do not this, you will get more next week. Hakol, he said, b'Kabbalat Shabbat. When he said, now, if you answer to me, please, try to answer. Why I have to do it on Friday night? Why not on Thursday night? Why not on Wednesday night?
Because Shabbat is the day for Hashem. It's not for us.
Not on Shabbat, twilight time.
To prepare the kli, to receive the neshama.
Why twilight time? What I bring to the Shabbat? What I enter to the Shabbat?
Yeah.
What?
Neshama.
No. No, the neshama is inside me. I have the opposite. I need extra neshama. You know what I bring in? All the 6 days that I worked. I take the 6 days that I work and I bring it into the Shabbat. You know how we call it Shabbat? Shabbat Kodesh, nachon? How we call to the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Yom? Hol. How you make hol? If I bring it to, not Chas v'Shalom to make business on Shabbat. I just bring it into the Shabbat to sanctify the hall.
Defied.
You remember now, Martha, do you remember if I sanctify the hall, what I get?
Kodesh Kodashim.
Kodesh Kodashim.
Kodesh, Kodesh.
Not Kodesh. Kodesh Kodashim. Now tell me now, when can I bring the 6th day inside the Shabbat? Which moment during the week?
Shabbat.
Erev Shabbat ben Hashmashot. That's twilight time, because the twilight time is the end of the 6 days. If I do it Thursday, I have still Friday. But Erev Shabbat ben Hashmashot is the end of the 6 days, and I bring, the 6 days inside Shabbat, and I make Kodesh Kodashim. By the way, do you know which book in the Tanakh that almost excluded from the Tanakh? Almost. You know?
Megillat Esther.
No.
Like Shir HaShirim.
Shir HaShirim. Why? Because it's a romantic. It's too romantic. Who saved the book?
Shlomo HaMelech.
No, Shlomo Melech wrote the Sefer. But who was the one that said, Omar, you have to put Shir HaShirim inside the Tanakh. If all the books of the Tanakh is Kodesh, Shir HaShirim ma? Kodesh Kodashim. Shir HaShirim is Kodesh Kodashim. Don't think all this, the love between men and women, is just the metaphor. You have to understand, is the love, the infinity, the immortality love between Hashem and Am Israel. So when you take the essence of Shir HaShirim, you get really Kodesh Kodashim. By the way, you know what?
From being excluded from the Tanakh, Rabbi.
What say?
You said someone saved it from being excluded from the Tanakh. Who was it?
The Knesset Agdolah, the rabbis.
Yes. Okay.
Rabbi Akiva was against it. And now, he said, Kodesh Kodashim, this Shabbat. When this moment, when I bring 6 days, my wife, which is you know where she's going? To light the candle. And you know what I do? I see the tear in her eyes. I know that she's praying. You know what she's praying? She's praying for her children. She's praying for Am Israel. She's praying. And the woman, she prays. The woman knows to pray better than men. This moment I prepare the kelim. We prepare, the woman, but who prepare the candles? Who should prepare the candles?
Man.
The men.
Husbands.
Yes. To prepare the candles, the men doing it. And the woman said, this moment I make the well. That's the well. And this moment, who is the happiest one? Hashem.
Hashem.
And you know what he give me as a reward? Extra neshama.
Shabbat.
Extra neshama. This moment, Hashem giving us extra neshama. From here I learned. I'm not saying, there's a psak. I said, so people not Shomer Shabbat, probably they don't have extra neshama. Because the extra neshama is the people who prepare Shabbat. And I tell you something else. So what I did with the 6 days, Kodesh Kodashim. You know what I do after I say Shabbat Shalom to my wife and my children and give a hug and a kiss to everyone? And you know where I'm going? To Bet Knesset. You know what I do in Bet Knesset?
Pray.
Pray. What you pray? What tefillah?
Shir HaShirim.
Shir HaShirim. We the Yemenite do Shir HaShirim before Mincha. The Sfaradim, the Halabim, the Moroccan do Shir HaShirim after Mincha. It doesn't matter. And what is Shir HaShirim? Kodesh or Kodesh Kodashim? Kodesh Kodashim. I'm going from strength to strength. After I prepare and then I reach Shir HaShirim, I'm in the atmosphere of Kodesh Kodashim. And that's why we said, when we're going through crisis, how we can say. And that's why I said, I would like to end up, I have, 4 minutes to finish. And I said, you remember, this prepare the kelim. What we do this? In Olam Hazeh. Which Olam is better? Olam Hazeh or Olam Haba?
Olam Haba.
Why?
Well, they say it's better than this world.
Okay, I'll do it quick. Look like 24. Rabbi Yaakov is the rabbi of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. העולם הזה דומה לפרוזדור בפני העולם הבא. היא like a hallway. עולם הבא, תקן עצמך בפרוזדור כדי שתיכנס לטרקלין. טרקלין is the hall. When you go to a wedding and you have to go through the hallway is not the wedding. You need to go to the tracklin, to the place they have the wedding. נכון? So now, according to what you say, the destination, the target is the עולם הבא. But look what next. הוא היה אומר, יפה שעה אחת בתשובה ומעשים טובים בעולם הזה, מכל חיי העולם הבא, ויפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא, מכל חיי העולם הזה. Look what he says. 1 hour in this עולם to do good deeds and mitzvot better than the entire עולם הבא. You understand? What we said just 2 minutes ago. That the destination is עולם הבא. And now you said 1 minute of good deeds. 1 hour is not 60 minutes. It could be 1 minute. 2 minutes in עולם הזה, if you do a mitzvah, is better than the entire עולם הבא. But look what the end of the Mishnah. ויפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא, but when you have a pleasant in עולם הבא, it's worth the entire עולם הזה. Rabbi Yaakov, you make it complicated. So which word is better? You know, the 1 hour in עולם הזה or the נחת רוח and the pleasure in עולם הבא? But you know what? Let me explain to you. When you work hard, let's say you work in any place you work, you know, the reward that the boss giving you is more than your work, נכון? It's more. Mm-hmm. If I work 1 hour, I get $60 per hour, but $60 is more than 1 hour. So I get money, I get reward. So the reward, now when do I know when is my reward? When Hashem give me the reward of the mitzvot?
After we die.
In which olam?
The Olam Haba.
Olam Haba. Now, but where can I do the mitzvot? In Olam Hazeh. So listen, he said, because in Olam Haba I cannot even put tzitzit on me. No mitzvot in Olam Haba. But here I can put tzitzit, I can pray mincha, shachrit, to give tzedakah. I can do every mitzvah is better than Olam Haba. But you know when I'll have the pleasure?
In the Olam Haba.
In Olam Haba, because in Olam Haba I go retroactive to see what? The value of my mitzvah. Many mitzvot even you forgot. And then you Hashem said, what did I do? Why Hashem give me such a pleasure? Do you know one time poor man came over there, you gave him $10 to buy a lunch. And you forgot about this. Because of this lunch, you get this. You know? He said, you know the Olam Haba. Now, to conclude this, you understand? So now, the value of Olam Hazeh is Olam Haba. So depend how you look. If you look for action, Olam Hazeh is action, Maaseh. We have to do mitzvot, mitzvot, mitzvot. Because Olam Haba, no mitzvot. But Olam Haba, I see the value of my mitzvot. That's why Nahat Ruach, the Nahat Ruach, I will have 1 minute on Olam Haba, is equal all my life in Olam Hazeh, 120 years. But now you tell me, who has a pleasure in Olam Hazeh?
The one who makes mitzvot.
Who?
The one who makes mitzvot.
But he doesn't know yet. Of course you feel good, but you don't know the value. But who really...
יש משהו שאומר שהוא מקבל פה והקרן קיימת לא לעולם הבא.
Okay, you make the question even stronger. עולם הבא. הקרן קיימת לעולם הבא. But who enjoy the value in עולם הזה?
The רשעים.
Enjoy? You mean because they have good times sometimes, not all the time. I'm talking enjoy the mitzvot. No, it said who enjoy the mitzvot in עולם הזה?
Hashem will enjoy.
Yes! Why Hashem? Hashem is present, past or future.
Yes.
All of them.
Hashem is above time. Hashem is above time. Hashem, you know, Olam Haba is Olam Hazeh. There is no difference for Hashem. So when we do the mitzvot, you know, we cause pleasure, nachat ruach to whom? To Hashem. Because Hashem is Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh. But for us, we are limited. So we will have the pleasure in Olam Haba, not in Olam Hazeh. But you know what? Some people can bring Olam Haba to Olam Hazeh. And not to die, to enjoy. You know which people enjoyed it? 3 people. Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Now let's see, Martha, who remembers? Do you remember the key word for the 3 fathers? Ruth, do you remember? What bracha Hashem gave to Abraham? Bakol. What bracha Abraham gave to Yitzhak? Mikol. What bracha Yaakov got? Kol. הרחמן יברך אותך. מה זה בכל מכל כל? What bracha is this? Money? Oil? Energy? Health? What bracha is this? Bakol. What is a call? Translate.
It's everything.
Hakol. Everything. Tell me, who has everything?
The one who's happy with that he has.
But who has everything in the world? Only one. Hashem. Human being doesn't have. But now, so what bracha Abraham got? Bakol and Yitzchak Mikol. So what bracha they got? You know what bracha? To cling to Hashem. To stick to Hashem. Because Hashem is a code. So the bracha they got is not something physically. They got something spiritually. So Abraham was cling to Hashem. Now, do you remember the pasuk? ואתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם חיים כולכם היום. If you cling to Hashem, you have beautiful life. All what you have to do. And he said the Gemara, 3 טעמו עולם הבא בעולם הזה. 3 has עולם הבא inside עולם הזה. הוא אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שנאמר בכל מכל כל. That everybody was clinging to Hashem. That means, my dear friend, what I'm saying to myself and to you, Has v'shalom, until everybody until 120. But we don't have to die to have the pleasure. We don't have to die. We can be alive in good health physically and enjoy Olam Haba. How? Cling to Hashem. And od milvado. Cling to Hashem and we will have this, he said, הדברים היותר גדולים קורים בעולם הזה. The biggest thing happening in עולם הזה. But ההבנה, the understanding of עולם הזה is only on עולם הבא. So now that's why we said we have to cling to Hashem. And we have to cling to Hashem that even the Satan cannot control us. So I wish, after the Shirah of the Be'er, after we know that we have to get together, we have to really to believe in this and to do. Hashem has his own plan and we have our own plan. And you see this, what I put here, the last 6 lines, look what Hashem is doing. When we are doing something else, Hashem is different game. שבטים היו עסוקים במכירתו של יוסף. The tribe, what they did to Yosef? They sold him. יוסף היה עסוק בשקו ותעניתו. Yosef was, making, תענית. Because it was said, Reuven היה עסוק בשקו ותעניתו. Reuven also was in fast because what they did to Yosef. יעקב היה עסוק בשקו ותעניתו. Yaakov also was sad. Why? Because what they did to Yosef. So look, Yosef, Reuven, Yaakov, everybody, dealing with that sakit ta'anit, in fast. Yehuda היה עסוק, something else. Do you remember what Yehuda did? He took a wife. He went to Tamar and this, he took Tamar. Remember what happened to Tamar? Tamar was married to his children. And then he married his daughter-in-law. And who he brought?
Mashiach.
והקדוש ברוך הוא, when everybody is busy with something else, הקדוש ברוך הוא also busy. Busy? He created the Melech HaMashiach. When Yehuda was with Tamar, he did not understand even what is he doing. He was doing mitzvot Yibum. So what I'm going to say, so my dear friend, what I'm trying to tell you, when we stick to Hashem and when we stick together all the time, Hashem is preparing really the Mashiach for us. Now we are mamash before Eretz Israel. Even though physically I am in Eretz Israel and you are in Panama, it's called Galut. As long as you are in Panama, it's called Galut. As long as we have Jews all over the world, it's still called Galut. And Be'ezrat Hashem, when we will stick to Hashem, all of us, all the Jews, all of us will be in Eretz Israel and we'll see the Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mera b'yameinu. Amen.
Amen.